back to another Rimshots with Sean. I have Weldon, I have Josee, and at the end of this segment, we're going to be treated to a little, I guess, cheat here. We actually saw it beforehand, but it's going to be at the end, and you're going to want to stick around for it. It's going to be amazing. Just before we end it, we were talking about the significance of what's around. And it's good that you wear it properly, because when I see Ryan wear it, he wears it around his
How dare he?
Yes, right. What is the significance of this?
Your suggestion.
So, to me, this are the colors of France, with a bit of yellow that represent the Acadian culture, the Acadian colors. And I don't believe in always kind of wearing and what's the word? What's the word, Ryan, for waving? Sorry. I don't believe in always waving a flag.
Sure.
I believe in something more subtle and discreet,
yep.
And this is more subtle and discreet than waving a flag. But it shows how devoted and loyal we are to our Acadian culture. My mom kind of found these. They were put together as a fundraiser in our hometown in Madame, and we got the idea that we would wear them at every show. And sometimes when we bring somebody up to play the washboard alongside Josee, we'll give some away as gifts or souvenirs. But I'm always, every time that I grab my apparel or my stage wardrobe, I'll pick up my father's captain's hat because he was a captain on a ship and ran his own business as a lobster fisherman. And I want to be part of that. So this is his hat, and this is my mom that put this together for me with the Acadian colors. And those are important things for me, because as Josee has, Ramon is always at our shows. She is really the force, the glue that keeps this together, because this would have collapsed a long time ago. This would have been adrift, because we don't know time.
Yeah.
We have no concept of time, days, months, years. I'm an artist, and so is she, and sure. Ramona kind of keeps us alive.
Yeah.
It keeps us on time.
Well, you know what? Being on time is important, and a lot of people, and obviously you guys would know this, but a lot of people think that when you play music, it's all fun, it's all games. The only fun part is really that little bit of time that you have on stage. It's an awful lot of planning. It's an awful lot of rehearsing. It's an awful lot of unfun stuff. Is that a fair statement?
Well, the responsibility to give people what they're expecting, because they've left their families and their homes and the comfort of their home, and they're coming and they're being seated into maybe sometimes a cold chair, and they're wanting to feel warm.
Yeah.
So we try to make sure that they get a warm feeling of, I don't mind saying it either, there needs to be love in the show.
Yeah.
I believe that we can't live this world without love, and so maybe it looks kind of fast-paced and traditional Acadian with a twist, and it looks like everything that Cape Breton has, but inside of it all is love.
Well, and the number that you did that we haven't heard yet that we're going to hear at the end of the show, I use the line peppy. I mean, you're sitting there, you're tapping your foot, I don't consider myself a dancer, but I mean, it was moving me.
I appreciate that. I mean, Josee is carrying the rhythm of that song. Do you want to describe how you came about with?
Well, and if I can, because I'm a drummer and I was watching what you were doing, and obviously you had to modify there. You're playing with the plastic spoons, but a lot of what you're doing is very rudimentary, and rudiments are hard. I don't know if you knew that or not, but that's the basis of drumming. And to be able to do that standing up was very impressive, and you didn't go off time at all.
It's funny because I started playing the washboard on a cafeteria tray that my dad.
Right.
There's a lot of inventions that I end up playing.
We didn't have a washboard, and no store in Nova Scotia carries them today.
Yeah.
We just bought her a washboard from Lafayette, from Thibault. Some Thibodeau.
Landry.
There's no Thibault in his name. What does that say, Ryan?
Yeah,
that washboard, is there a company name on that?
Well, there you go. Look at this.
Okay, so that's.
We got it from a landing.
Yeah, we had to get that delivered from Louisiana. So you can imagine, more than 20 years ago, we were playing a cheese grater.
Yep.
And I was making sure I was sanding it down so that it wouldn't cut people that would pick it up and try to play it. Then I got this bright idea that I'd use a cafeteria tray and I'd glue something that has the ripple effect on it, and that she would scratch her way through a song.
So I just wore SpongeBob
and gloves, so
that's great.
And that's how we got photos of that. And then from there we said.
So I would do that same rhythm, but then since it was my hands, that's why I did that like.
Right, it started as a slapping motion.
But then I ended up doing that with my spoons.
Well, and I would have to think that something like this isn't an inexpensive item, and with our Canadian peso where it is, even more so.
Yeah.
And it kind of surprises me a little bit with, I guess, our musical background, that you can't find one of these things in our own province.
Could not find that in Canada.
Business opportunity for someone, he thinks.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
Somebody do this. We'll buy one. We'll sell them in our shows.
Well, there you go, right? Your guys' faces on there. That'll be pretty cool, right?
There you go.
So you're a full-time student.
I am.
So you're home right now for exams, or?
My break just ended. I started back online, and we go back in person the 31st.
Okay, right on. So how you finding balancing school with the playing? And I mean, it's not that far. You're going to X, so I mean, it's hour and a bit away or whatever, hour and a half or something. But how you finding the balance?
Right now with COVID, we're not really playing as often as we used to.
Well, we have virtual shows that have been organized, and they're destined to. Like, one is going to France. It's been already filmed, and that one's destined for France, where we've been 3 times in Normandy, because they have an Acadian festival in Normandy.
And so I find that when we do end up playing, it's typically during my breaks. So
okay, that works out great then.
Yeah, it's perfect timing.
Yeah,
it's rare that I'm having to study for exams or writing exams while we're playing.
And you're taking what?
I'm taking a Bachelor of Arts.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, we capitalize on requests. Like, for instance, Quebec schools wanted my involvement in teaching Quebec students what is Acadian culture, and I wasn't interested in doing it without Josee.
Right on.
So she became part of that project, and then we worked around her schedule.
Well, and it's funny because like this show, Barstools and Bandtalk, that we started, it'll be 2 years in April. It started out of everything's being shut down. Figured it was going to be 5 weeks. Here we are, almost 2 years later. It's going gangbusters. But we said all throughout the thing, there's different opportunities now. You mentioned the online shows, right?
Yeah.
So it sucks that you can't be in front of people, but the people that are learning how to use technology and use those opportunities and use them well are going to be the benefactors of what's going on.
Well, who's more resourceful than the Acadian people? Okay, and so they're not going to struggle because they have the creativity built into their DNA. But I really recommend that artists and musicians right now get resourceful, get creative. Don't let anything or any obstacle get in your way. If you can't go left, go right. If you can't go low, go high. Mm-hmm. And don't let anything stop you. You're born an artist. Continue doing your art. The world needs it.
It's a great point, because the other thing that we've said a bunch of times is, and it happened again, but last year everybody's sitting around, nobody's getting to play. If you're not practicing, if you're not writing songs, if you're sitting around just feeling sorry for yourself, do it. That's fine.
Yeah.
But guys like me, folks like you, folks like Ryan, they're getting better. They want to get better. Right. So hey,
good call.
You know what I mean? And that's we're kind of speaking the same language here when we're saying that, right?
I agree.
Yeah. So what do you guys have next in terms of? I'm assuming you're always writing. You have another album in the works.
Yeah, I forgot that we have. We've been working for 2 years with a seniors project out of Truro with directrice du Centre Culturel de Truro, Yvette Saunier, and she asked. I had this idea. She likes getting ideas from artists.
Right.
She's a great director, but she loves having creative ideas. And I said, Yvette, and this is a year prior to COVID, I said, why don't you let me meet seniors, Acadian seniors, French seniors, let me talk to them about the past, and maybe songs will come out from that discussion, but just let me get together with them and let me ask them questions about what was the Depression like? What was the Second World? Imagine, I'm talking to somebody who remembers the Second World War. first black and white TV, the first automobile to roll into town. The importance of the Roman Catholic Church.
Right.
I'm having the luxury of asking these questions, and my wife is taking notes, and I'm making eye contact with them. It's all the inspiration I needed to write 6 songs, and that is being launched in about a month's time or 2 months' time.
You have to keep abreast of that.
Yeah.
And I mean, they would probably have just loved it. You in there spending some time with them.
Most of the visit was spent crying because we were bringing them back to their childhood and to their parents. Because I would ask them, tell me about your own parents, and maybe not enough people are asking the seniors about their child. They're seeing them as elderly people.
Yeah.
They were a very young and vibrant people in this province. They kept this province going. I think it's important for us to give them their due and their honor.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think that what happens is, and especially when they go into a nursing home, it's just kind of like they're put out of the way. And
I agree.
I know some of them, like when my father was in the nursing home, he actually loved it in there, but there were some people that just kind of went there to die, which is really kind of a sad.
Well, I'm going to say this because I've thought about this, and I want this to become a song one day, but they volunteered to fight for peace on a world scale. How many people do you know who are young who would volunteer and lie about their age so that they can go off and fight a world war to get peace back into this nation? They deserve much more than what they're getting, and I'm gonna fight for them.
And the thing is too is like I have a daughter who's your age, and it's not. I'm not going to say young people, but there is a
something happened,
right? We call it like the trophy kids, where everybody gets a trophy, and you can't be upset.
But it's the price you pay for peace.
Right.
They paid it. We need to speak about that.
Right.
We don't need to speak about the lack of. On the other hand, that doesn't interest me. What interests me is that they did. It's documented. I want to speak about that.
No, for sure. So watch me circle all this back. What's cool is, so here you are, you're 20, your dad's
older.
Not older. But, I mean, so it's pretty cool that you're playing music with your dad, when that's kind of rare. I'm not noticing like this whole, like you're not looking, I'm like, oh my God, you can't, like, you know how to use a phone. Like, there's a respect there, right? He's pretty hip dude, I think. Like, I mean, this is the first time I met you, but Ryan's told me a lot about you, and I get the fact that you think a little bit differently than people.
I'm intense, but I think I don't think I'm turning anybody off with my intensity.
No, not at all.
Somebody once said, don't excuse yourself for being intense.
It's just that people can't handle you.
Maybe the people aren't intense enough for you.
Yeah.
That's on them.
Right.
So I am intense, but I like it. It vehicles me. With the Josee by my side, and knowing that Ramona, we're a family team who goes off and maybe does a little bit of good. That's what I want my job description to say. Nothing else. Just we try to do some good.
I say it a little bit differently, but it's kind of in the same thing. And I kind of have a joke with when we were playing a lot of shows last year. The first show that I did with my other band, besides Frequency, somebody came up and said, "There's 9 drummers in the room. Are you nervous?" I'm like, "No, I got their $10. They can leave anytime they want." And we're kind of saying the same thing, right? It's like you got to have confidence in yourself, because if you don't have confidence in yourself, how can somebody have confidence in you? First statement.
Well said.
Right. So we're going to wrap here, but here's one of the things. Now, we had talked about where people can book you. Well, I'm gonna do this on your behalf. Message me, email bandtalkshawn@gmail.com. I'd be happy to put whoever wants to book you guys in touch.
That's nice of you. I appreciate that.
And you know what? There's an awful lot of different people that we have that are part of this Barstools thing that are always looking for different things and events and cultural things. And there's probably some people that we can introduce you guys to, because I really dig what you're doing.
Awesome. I dig what you're doing.
Well,
I think this is a great idea.
Thank you very much. So, a lot of love in the room tonight. We're super excited about that. And so we're going to wrap with Weldon with Josee, and on the other side you're going to hear a little ditty that I tell you, get your foot tapping. Thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. As promised, we got Weldon Boudreau and his lovely daughter Josee. They're going to do a little number for you here, folks.
Shout out au petit de gras, then madame. la mente degra.